Hello everyone, I'm Chris Hernandez and this is the Weekly Report, a look at news from the city of Kansas City, Missouri. Residents learned about saving energy and money while being good environmental stewards at the KC Green Fair last week. City departments, along with local businesses and organizations, showed off their contributions to sustainability and the positive effects of a greener approach.
The Green Fair is an event that the city's interdepartmental Education and Outreach Green Team has been coordinating for several years now. It gives us an opportunity to highlight, both for city employees and for other interested people in the downtown area, some of the really amazing sustainability, climate protection, and otherwise green activities going on in Kansas City, both by the city and by other organizations.
October is Emergency Preparedness Month. That means it's time for the annual City Hall Fire Drill. On Tuesday, October 10th, the fire alarms will go off sometime between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Now, in the past, we have closed City Hall during the fire drill, but this time, City Hall will remain open to the public during the drill. All employees and City Hall visitors will be asked to evacuate the building, just like in a real fire emergency. This drill helps prepare city employees for an actual emergency, and it helps employees ensure the safety of our visitors. The city's 311 call center's operations will close during the drill itself, but residents may continue to tweet requests to us at kcmo311 or use the online form or the 311 mobile app. Kemper Arena's new name is Mosaic Arena, and it's now privately owned after being sold by the city to a private developer. That developer held a groundbreaking to start renovating the facility into a youth sports complex. Mosaic Arena will also host adult sports leagues, plus it will have a video game sports facility and a sports wellness clinic.
I'm Scott Taylor, 6th District at Large, City Council, Kansas City, and it's really good to be here after so many years to actually be here today. So let's celebrate a little bit. Let's give everybody here that's worked on this a round of applause up front. From my perspective, what I like about the project is not just that it brings a youth sports facility with 2 floors. We're going to add a center floor, which will be unique for any youth sports facility around the country. It'll be a destination, but it's going to bring a lot of activity to Kansas City. We're going to have tournaments coming in on the weekends, people around the country coming in. And when they come in, they're not just going to be at the arena. They're going to need a place to stay. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't have a hotel down here soon, if the private sector sees the opportunity very quickly. They're going to need a place to eat. We have some great restaurants now, but we could use more restaurants and opportunities. They're small businesses. When you drop, any parent in the crowd knows that when you drop your children off to a sports event or practice for a couple of hours, a lot of times it doesn't make sense to drive back home, so you try to get a little shopping done, grab a bite to eat, grab a cup of coffee, and it's going to be great for the community. It's going to be a stimulus for the historic West Bottoms, and it also preserves the facility. It's now a historically designated property, and so we can all be proud of that. We have that heritage in Kansas City.
Again, I can't thank Steve Fouch enough for his perseverance on this issue. I think this conversation happened 4 or 5 years ago. And said, hey, you know, what are you ever going to do with Kemper Arena? I got this crazy idea about a youth sports facility. It's like, oh, he's had one too many wherever he's at. But he stuck with it and encountered a lot of opposition, but kept at it. And perseverance will win the day every day. And I can't thank Steve enough for his willingness to dig in, help the city extract itself from a multitude of contractual arrangements that we had on this deal in order to get a project that I think is just going to be transformative, not only for the arena, but for this entire West Bottoms and downtown area. When you think about the possibility of thousands of people coming down here weeknights and on the weekends, what that spillover impact will be. And they're already having those conversations. There's a developer that wants to build 250 market rate apartments right across the street in the Golden Ox parking lot. Those are the kind of issues that we see happening. But I just can't thank Steve enough for his great work. We were laughing a little bit, and nobody can define, I'm not sure we ever got our dollar.
Yeah, it was on the closing.
All right. Want to make sure we get our buck here.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the team at Fouch Brothers for selecting McCown Gordon to serve as your partner on this project. Steve, we really appreciate the trust and confidence that you put in us. We're honored and humbled that you've chosen our firm to be a part of such an exciting and transformative project. You know, throughout the years and throughout each year, we get an opportunity to work on some really, truly innovative and unique projects, and this one for sure is absolutely one of the most unique and innovative projects we'll be working on this year.
It's been a long 4 years, but obviously today we're here because, again, with Scott and the council members that helped us push this through and believed in us after repeated discussions and observations of what we were doing. Troy Schulte and all of his staff as well, a big, huge help getting this done.
We were paying, as taxpayers, you and I were paying $1 million a year just to maintain the old Kemper Arena when there really was no activity and no benefit to the taxpayers. By turning this over to the private sector, we will save $10 million over the next 10 years, but we'll also save the potential cost of demolition. And we've heard upwards of $12 million that would cost taxpayers if we were to have demolish the structures. And in its place, we will get a vibrant facility that will bring a lot of activity to the historic West Bottoms.
Hi, I'm Steve Fouch with Fouch Brothers. We've been developing this project for about 4 years, converting Kemper Arena into now a multi-level sports and entertainment facility. We have about 100,000 square feet of office and retail space once you clear out all of the storage and mechanical spaces that aren't needed any longer. And then we're going to have all levels of sports and competition, all different kinds of fitness and nutrition, food and beverage, and retail within the facility. We're just now starting construction, and we'll be open a year from now, targeting mid-September to the August 1st timeframe of next year.
Porch Fest KC is coming up on its 4th year on Saturday, October 14th, and it's an event that's supported by the Neighborhood Tourist Development Fund. Today we are with Catherine Golden, who is the founder of Porch Fest KC, to talk to us all about the event. Thank you for having us out here on this beautiful day.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Crossing fingers that it'll be a beautiful day for Porch Fest as well.
Absolutely.
How did you get the idea for Porch Fest KC?
I originally lived on the West Coast, and I attended a Porch Fest in Napa, California, and it was, I believe, the 2nd year that they had one, and it was just this really amazing experience of just musicians and people on bicycles and walking around and seeing a neighborhood that I had not been familiar with, and just kind of this really low-key community event I felt like I had stumbled upon. And I thought at the time, like, this is so perfect, and if I ever go back, move back to Kansas City, this would be something Kansas City should do. And then a few years later I moved back, was looking for something to start, and decided, that memory flashed back, and it seemed like a great fit for where I was at the time.
Well, how many groups, how many musical performers will you have this year?
This year was a big jump. So each year has increased. 192 bands actually applied to the event.
Gosh.
I didn't ultimately have enough space for all of them, so it's the first year that I've had to turn people away. We will land at 160 bands performing on one afternoon. So 160 hours of music crammed into 6 hours.
And where are the porches located, and how do you get to be a porch?
Okay, so the
Porch
porches
Fest?
this year, it's spread very wide. It's a dense amount of area, but it's wide. So it's all of Valentine neighborhood in Midtown, the Roanoke neighborhood in Midtown, and a little bit of the eastern side of Volker. And all of those people and a few others that I couldn't use, they just go online to my website and they apply to be a porch host. And their agreement is that they will open their yard up to pedestrians to sit and stand in their yard, that they'll offer their porch to musicians to play, and they'll provide electricity. And so the ask is pretty low bar, and then they invite their friends and their colleagues, and they all just kind of have a party in their yard.
And what else can people experience during Porch Fest? It's not just about the music, it's also...
There's food trucks there.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. There's a lot of Porch Fest in other parts of the country, and actually Canada also, include a lot of different arts. I have really stuck with music as my core subject. We definitely have food trucks there, and so it's music and food trucks. That's really kind of the crux of it.
And it's all free, but you want to help the musicians out too.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's free to attend. It's a great family event. It's an alcohol-free event, which I find really valuable to kind of keep a certain tone to it and invite everybody. Bands all play for tips. So I put gigantic tip jars on every porch and on a pole out front, and I encourage everyone who comes to throw a few dollars in for every porch they stop at. And if everyone did that, the musicians would be fairly compensated without having to buy a ticket to an event at a really inflated price.
So people can walk from porch to porch because there are different performances happening all at one time.
Yes.
And what are the hours for the fest?
So it's noon to 6. The music is much broader this year. The Roanoke neighborhood has a lot larger porches, and they're further spaced apart. And so I open it up to other kinds of genres this year that maybe are a little bit louder. So there's blues, reggae, there's a 14-piece classical orchestra that's going to be playing on a porch, which is pretty exciting. And then the normal Americana, folk, classic country, kind of a wide mix. So as you wander around from noon to 6 p.m., you'll see a lot of different types of bands, anywhere from 1 member to 14 members in the band. There's a lot of kids that are performing, which I love. Some youth performers, some that'll be coming back, many of them repeats from last year. And you can just wander, and whatever catches your ear, stop and listen.
And where can people find out about the different bands that are performing and about the hours and about what to bring?
Sure, absolutely. So the website's your number one source. So porchfestkc.com would be the first source. The same thing on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's all porchfestkc. At the event, there will be a map that you can pick up at the information booth that tells you every hour who's playing on what porch. That will be available for download on the website as well a few days before the event.
Great. And if there's a weather change that we need to be aware of?
There won't be, but if there were, we will probably just move it. We're planning on moving it just to Sunday, the very next day. So it'll be a trimmed down. Not every porch host is available, not every band is available, not every food truck is available, but we'll just do business as usual the next day.
And all of that would be announced also on the outlets that you just mentioned?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having us out here and for telling us about the event. It sounds very exciting.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
The Neighborhood Tourist Development Fund supports local nonprofits that bring cultural, social, educational, and recreational activities to our area. To learn about additional upcoming events, visit kcmo.gov/ntdf.
Did you get a postcard in the mail about your trash pickup? If you did, your trash day will soon change. Every few years, solid waste staff reviews population changes in the city to make sure trash pickup schedules are balanced. Beginning October 1st, trash schedules in 11 neighborhoods move to different days in order to improve trash service. Here are the changes. In the north, Wednesday collection moves to Friday for the area south of Missouri Highway 152 from North Oak to I-435. This change affects the Ridgefield neighborhood as well as Gashland East and parts of Jefferson Highlands and Shoal Creek. In the south part of the city, Wednesday collection moves to Friday for the area east of I-49 and US 71 highway from Bannister Road to Blue Ridge Boulevard. This affects the Fairlane, Stratford Estates, and Hickman Mills neighborhoods. And Thursday collection moves to Wednesday in the area from State Line Road to Troost Avenue, from 85th Street to Bannister Road. This change impacts the West Hills, Santa Fe Hills, Boone Hills, and Lee Manor neighborhoods. These adjustments affect less than 5% of the city's households. For a complete list of addresses that will have new trash days, go to kcmo.gov/trash. Having a budget for your money is important, and as you know, without prioritizing, it's difficult to properly plan. The city budget is no different. The City Council invites you to provide input on its priorities at one of the annual resident work sessions. You will hear a presentation on how the city gathers information and resident priorities by using citizen satisfaction surveys. Then you'll be able to give your input during a smaller group breakout session. Your input will help finalize the 5-year citywide business plan, which must be adopted by November 1st. To find the date and location of the session nearest you, visit kcmo.gov. It is starting to feel like fall, finally, and that means it will soon be time to rake some leaves. Curbside leaf and brush collection starts in the South Zone the week of October 23rd, followed by Central collection the week of October 30th, and Northland pickup takes place the week of November 13th. Remember, you may leave up to 20 bags or bundles of leaf and brush on your curb on your regular trash pickup day. Also, the city's leaf and brush drop-off sites are open if you want to get an early jump on that work. The sites are located at 11660 North Main, 1815 North Shoto Trafficway, and 10301 Raytown Road. Drop-off is free to residents on Saturdays with identification. For more information about leaf and brush, visit kcmo.gov and search leaf and brush. And that does it for this edition of the Weekly Report. To view this program again or other Channel 2 videos, go to kcmo.gov and search Channel 2. That page has a link to our YouTube channel where you can view programs on demand. I'm Chris Hernandez. Thanks for watching.